Hello. I'd like to say a few words today about the Alpha Course, which a lot of churches offer and many people have found helpful. It's claimed to be an introduction to Christianity, although it's not really that at all, because what it is an attempt to persuade you of the truth of a particular version of Christianity, in other words, conservative evangelical Christianity. And so the course takes a very conservative, literal, uncritical approach to the Bible. And it offers a penal substitution theory of the atonement as if it's the only possible way of seeing the atonement. It also makes some claims which are rather dubious and don't stand up to scrutiny. It's one of these claims that I'd like to look at today. In session 2 of the course, Nicky Gumbel looks at a particular verse in John's Gospel, John 10, verse 30, where Jesus said, "The Father and I are one." And he uses that verse to make a big claim about Jesus. If Jesus claimed to be one with the Father, then surely he would have to be either deluded, a big claim to make, deluded, a fraud, or what he claimed to be, one with God, truly God. Wow, amazing. The trouble with that claim is, when you look at it closely, it really doesn't stand up to scrutiny at all. Modern critical scholars would not regard that as representing the actual words of Jesus. If you want to know what Jesus taught, you'll find his teaching in the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark and Luke, where Jesus taught in parables and aphorisms and sayings about the coming kingdom of God. What was the kingdom like? The kingdom is like a mustard seed that starts small and grows into a huge plant. What qualities should people have in the kingdom? They should be loving and generous. They should love their enemies. They should forgive people. That's what Jesus' teaching was about. In John's Gospel, written many years after his death, some 60 years later at the end of the 1st century, what it's presenting is a reflection on the significance that Jesus had. And so it puts these words into his mouth, but they're not the original words of Jesus. And that's a consensus view that modern scholars have. Now, Nicky Gumbel ignores all that. And this is what I find disappointing about him, because he's a priest in the Church of England. He's had theological training, so he knows that this claim doesn't have support. I'm sure that he's honest in thinking himself that Jesus did really say these words. And he could argue against the consensus. He could say the consensus is wrong when it says that Jesus didn't say these things. But the trouble is, he doesn't do that. He doesn't present arguments to show that the consensus is wrong. He just ignores it altogether. And so we have the simple claim that Jesus made a claim to be one with God, and therefore, well, he obviously wasn't deluded. He wasn't a fraud, so he must have been God. But really, this claim is disingenuous. And because, as I say, Nicky Gumbel knows it isn't supported by the experts in the field. So to make it seems to me to be a bit dishonest. It seems a bit manipulative. It's trying to in a way, get people to commit to Christ under false pretenses. Now, I'm a Christian. I think you can make a good case for following Jesus. It's just that I wouldn't do it in this way. You have to be rather more honest, I think, than the Alpha Course really is. Thank you for listening. Bye.